So a couple weeks back, I was taking a look at one of my favorite blogs, the RPG guy, who gives advice about role-playing games. Very good information in there, and he had a topic that I thought was kind of interesting. Advice for game masters, and one of the things he said was to not be married to your plot. Always have room to deviate. Well, that totally reminded me of something that happened to me when I first started game mastering. So, as mentioned, I just started game mastering. I've been playing for a couple years at that point, but finally decided, you know what? Let me try to run a game, and ended up doing a lighthearted fantasy campaign with Big Eye, Small Mouth, which, if you're familiar, was the anime-based role-playing game. Incidentally, this was the game that would eventually become Glenshire Abbey. So, we ended up starting a session, and it took a while. It was a bit of a learning process, but finally got the hang of it. But then, as fate would have it, my gaming group ended up splitting apart. Some of the guys in the military, others ended up moving away, so the game kind of went on hiatus. We'll fast forward to about a year or so later, and the group was getting back together, and it's like, hey, Monty, you want to run that game again? Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I decided, yeah, I can definitely get another game together. So, a little something you should probably know about my gaming group. They're a little on the heavy-handed side of the spectrum. Basically, there isn't a problem that they can't solve without using copious amounts of violence. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to build a campaign about them being sneaky, stealthy, less hack and slash, more thinking. So I designed this huge, elaborate thing. Well, a little backstory on the campaign. There was an artifact that they were looking to get their hands on, and as fate would have it, the big bad person of the campaign, who at least who they thought was the one, actually had it hidden in her temple. So she was away on business, and they decided to sneak into it. So they slip inside, manage to avoid the guards, and actually get between the walls. Kind of like that Scooby-Doo effect when you got like the big portrait and overlooking a room. Well, they took the eyes out, was looking out into the room, and I describe all manner of evil thing that's in there. It's like, oh, you hear kobolds. Well, kobolds were kind of like the main thing they were going up against. They're armored, you hear ogres. Basically, I just made it sound like this is the worst possible place to want to jump into. And, of course, these guys decide, you know what? We're going to jump right in. We're going to knock the wall down. You want to knock the wall down? Absolutely going to knock the wall down. Dude, I got demolitions. Yo, guess what, man? I got demolitions. So, I'm trying to convince them maybe this isn't the best way to go about it. And, I'm talking to them through the NPCs in the party. And one of them, he was like the cousin of one of the characters in the game. He was a little bit of an older dwarf, a little bit wiser. And it's like, well, I don't know if this is going to be the best course of action. So one of the guys in the group, who I don't want to use names, Keith, decided to have his character, Conjar, big, brawl, happy orc, look at the NPC and say, plain as day, looked him dead in the eye, are you a dwarf or just a little man? So, of course, at that point, they had to knock the wall down. And they rolled, and they proceeded to knock the wall down. Element of surprise, they jumped into battle, and once everything is said and done, they actually won the battle. So, of course, I had like a huge page of notes as far as like sneaking in, finding hidden stuff, and it's like, yeah, we won't be using any of that. So the lesson I learned at that point, you can come up with an idea for a campaign, but don't be so set in it that you can't deviate a little bit, especially when you have my gaming group.